Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina, were supposed to be pivotal test of the nation's democratic resilience. Now, the polls have now been closed and we await the verdict. Yet, even ahead of the ballots were being cast, reports of violence, intimidation, fears of open, brazen rigging and bribing of voters surfaced. Multiple reports have reinforced concerns about whether voters, namely minority community voters, can actually exercise their franchise freely, including women. Now, given the visuals emerging from Bangladesh, which is there on your screens to witness, where Jamaat workers have been accused of stuffing ballot boxes, coercing voters and even pre-filling ballot papers to manipulate the results. Let's take you through some of the dramatic visuals that have actually emerged from Bangladesh. First one is from Dhaka, where Jamaat workers are trying to capture a booth. Look at this. This is what's happening. The cops are coming in there to try and stop them and to dissuade them from doing that. The second one, this is in Chattogram. Have a look at this. The entire BNP candidate's office was set ablaze. This is how things are going from bad to worse on ground. Third, again from Chattogram, very critical viewers, where Jamaat workers are actually caught casting fake votes. Look at that. This is the night of polling and they're already casting votes. They're stamping the ballot papers and then they're casting the votes. Those who are arguing in favor of ballot in Bharat, have a look at this. This is what you are inviting. Again, Mirpur. Have a look at this. Jamaat workers nabbed with weapons in their hand. They've been nabbed with weapons, ready to commit violence and intimidation of the voter. Again, Oliapur. Jamaat leader caught casting fake votes. Again, open, brazen disrespect of the democratic process, or perhaps mocking it in its face. And how is this a free and fair election when the Awami League itself is not participating and they've been banned? Now, second, the next one, have a look at this. This is journalists who are targeted by the Jamaat. Look at them. This is the condition of the media personnel on ground who are wanting to report. Some of these pictures can be very disturbing. Please exercise some discretion there, please, viewers. And Jamaat workers nabbed. This is again coming, more pictures, giving cash for votes. Look at that. In fact, CNN News18 is in possession of a letter which is actually telling the voters, we'll pay you 15,000 taka for every confirmed video recorded vote for the Jamaat. So they're saying, take your phone, record casting of the ballot, put it in, come back, show us this video and we'll give you 15,000 taka. Meanwhile, ballot stuffing that was caught on camera, more pictures. These are all ballots. This is not supposed to be stamped, but this entire thing caught on camera. And there are hundreds of such other videos, viewers. Now, in fact, multiple voters in Bangladesh have spoken about how their votes were already cast when they approached the polling booths, suggesting mass rigging where it seems voter IDs have been hijacked. Listen in.
ঢোকার পরে আপনার এই ব্লাড টেবিলে যাওয়ার পরে স্লিপ মিলাইলো মিলানোর পরে আপনার ভোট হয়ে গেছে কি বলছে এই বলতেছে যারা ভোট ই করতে লিস্ট করতেছে আর কি
ভোট কিন্তু ভোট দিতে আইদে আমার ভোট আরেকজনে দিয়ে লাইছে আমার ফিট আমার নাম টাম সব কিছু হয়ে গেছে আমি গেছি ভোট দিতে এখন যা দেখি যে আমার ভোট অন্য কেউ দিয়ে গেছে
এইখানে আমার ভোট হয়ে গেছে কারণ আমি আসছি ভোট দিতে এখন বলছে যে আপনার ভোট তো হয়ে গেছে
আমি স্বাভাবিক নিয়মে ভোট দিতে গেছি আমার ভোট কেন্দ্রে তো এখানে যাওয়ার পরে তারা বলে যে আরিফুজ্জামান তোমার যে ভোটার নাম্বার 17-18 এই সিরিয়ালে তো ভোট দেওয়া হয়ে গেছে
Meanwhile, the ousted Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina, is hit out at the elections and the way it has been conducted in Bangladesh. And she says, and I quote, for rejecting the sham election staged by the killer fascist Yunus, who seized power illegally and unconstitutionally. The leader of the people, Sheikh Hasina, expresses her thanks. Today's so-called election was essentially Today's so-called election by Yunus, who seized power illegally and unconstitutionally, was essentially a well-planned farce. The people's voting rights, democratic values and the spirit of the constitution were completely disregarded in this deceptive voterless election conducted without the Awami League, she says. From the evening of 11th February, this farce began with the seizure of polling centers, gunfire, vote buying, distribution of money, stamping of ballots and agents signing result sheets. By the morning of 12th February, voter turnout was negligible in most polling centers nationwide. In the many centers across the capital and other areas, there were no voters at all. So she's called it a total farce. She said there were no voters at all because of the fact that there was brazen disruption there. And according to the Election Commission's briefing, voter turnout until 11 a.m. within 3.5 hours was only 14.96%. This low participation at the peak of voting period proves that public boycotted and rejected this election without the Awami League. It should be noted that in recent days there were continuous attacks, arrests, intimidation and an atmosphere of fear targeting Awami League voters, supporters and well-wishers and minority communities in an attempt to forcibly take them to polling stations. In this situation, we demand the cancellation of this voterless, illegal and unconstitutional election, the resignation of Yunus, the withdrawal of the false cases and the release of all political prisoners. So, are these elections nothing but a charade run by propped up radicals who have taken full control of Bangladesh's democracy? That's the big question. Mohammad Ali Siddiqui, Secretary General Bangladesh Human Rights Watch with us, Ambassador Rajiv Dogra with us and Arun Anand, columnist, also with us. My namaste to everybody. Thank you for your time. Mohammad Siddiqui Saab,
yes.
Do you agree and concur with what Sheikh Hasina ji is saying? And do these pictures that we're getting from Bangladesh underline and prove what she's claiming?
Yes, this is the national 13th election with the so-called referendum. Proven already, it is a first brazen sham election, as Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina mentioned. You showed a lot of videos, footage, and the incidents happen all over the country. Tons of, proven documentations already on the social media. The thing is, the people rejected this vote as it proven, even though the mass intimidation, the ballot stuffing, paying the money out to the people is in large numbers. Especially the manipulation and the bribery is unprecedented happened. Some incident happened in northern district, especially Thakurgaon district. The Jamaat Amir got caught with 77 lakhs of the money he was carrying to. Such other ways, Jamaati leaders was distributing money, purchasing votes, forcing the Awami Leagues and the minority voters not to come to the poll center, or by pushing them to cast their votes. So these are the ways. This is, I think, the historical is a black mark would be in the history of this election. Especially, I would like to mention the thing that Professor Muhammad Yunus mentioned with these things, that this is a fantastic day for him, that he was declared earlier that could be unprecedented day of the history. It is like his DMP commissioner, Dhaka Metropolitan Police Commissioner himself confessed to the media that he was unable to cast their vote. Thousands of voters, when they approached to the voter center, they were refused to cast their vote because the assigned officer saying that your vote already casted. So the procedure in the country that every voter should be issued a ballot paper showing their national ID card, NID card.
Yeah.
How come the others casted their votes? This is one thing. The another thing, that previously in 2018 votes, Awami League was blamed that the vote were casted night before. So there were no single evidence to the media. Now, I think millions of evidences now proven that night before, all the Jamaati activists,
Yeah.
including the military officers,
Yeah.
when they assigned police officers, BNP people were casting the vote at night, entered into the polling center. And the reality was showing to the field that, at the noon of the voting day were empty. Some of the military officers are playing cricket on the field. Most of the school field were totally empty, no line of the voters, and they fictitiously premeditated a result plan they declared. And the election commission already, you mentioned that the first 3.5 hours, 14.96% vote casted. And next 1 hour, single hour, they were showing 32.8% vote casted. It is impossible. It is unimaginable that these numbers of the vote casted over there. It is a fictitious number. And I think the whole nation rejected this.
If that's the case,
manipulated.
who will take the call to disqualify these elections? Who will take, because it's a free-for-all. It's those people who have called for the elections who are allowing all of this to pass. Although there were cops to try and stop the Jamaatis in some places, BNP officers have been burnt, Mohammad Ali Siddiqui. Who is going to take the call to reject these elections and to rescind these elections or cancel them?
We need to wait a little bit longer, because when the final results going to come out to the media, I think if the defeated party, especially BNP, seeing that they lose this election, they might gonna protest strongly. Definitely Awami League, like 7 to 8 crore voters, they did not turn out to the polling centers. Definitely the party head, Sheikh Hasina, and the other leaders already declared they rejected this vote. And the people of Bangladesh, finally, I believe, they will come out and to reject this manipulated and meticulous designed election done by Muhammad Yunus.
No, really, because the sanction ambassador Rajiv Dogra seems to have come with the trade deal that has been signed between the US and the Bangladesh interim government. That whatever happens will be accepted and it's palatable.
Well, earlier we used to hear that in North Korea or Libya or Iraq or Soviet Union or one of the East communist countries, the leaders won by 110% votes. In this case, it seems that they might sweep the votes altogether and it will be close to 120%. And I must compliment Muhammad Yunus, the chief executive officer of Bangladesh, in meticulous planning, because I had not heard of this new method that videograph your vote, show me the vote, and I'll give you the money. Now, my thoughts are with the poor voter who has done all this, videographed and so on. When he comes out and the local Jamaat-e-Islami representative says, I have pocketed the money, I have seen your video, now go to it. So, while they are doing everything possible to intimidate the voter, to ensure that even before he reaches the polling booth, his vote is cast, so he need not take that trouble. The fact is that it is not just Muhammad Yunus who's doing it. He has some inspiration behind him. One is Jamaat-e-Islami, of course, but more than that, as you pointed out, is America involved? Otherwise, what was the need of entering into a trade agreement highly favorable to Bangladesh, especially on textiles, just a few days before the elections? They knew that Muhammad Yunus would rubber stamp whatever they want. Jamaat-e-Islami is also their creation, America's creation, but they cannot be absolutely sure that Jamaat-e-Islami may not then turn against America because of the very nature of its mandate. So I think America is largely responsible for what has happened in Bangladesh and what is happening in Bangladesh. But what may happen in Bangladesh could very well turn out to be against America's interests ultimately. But coming to the elections as such, I hope Bangladesh has enough courage and people of Bangladesh have enough courage if they could gather a couple of months earlier or a year earlier
Right.
against Sheikh Hasina, I hope they would be able to gather against a very unfair election which goes against their own interests and against their own development and freedom. But the path ahead is not so simple, because even those protests, the Muhammad Yunus government would have taken note of and taken care of. So it's unlikely that there will be a spontaneous movement immediately. What happens after 6 months, we have to wait and see.
The larger question is that there is supposed to be a machinery that allows the state to continue to function despite whatever disruption on the face of it. So the army, the police, the administrative services, the bureaucracy that included, the banking, financial services, this is all the backbone of any nation functioning. Are they okay with what is going on, Arun Anand? Because we do see cops trying to come in, we do see cops trying to stop the Jamatis and some of these radical elements and all of that. But how much of it is going to actually fructify into a system where there is a certain level of participation that is there, and it is participatory democracy, despite the fact that an Awami League has been excluded?
See, Anand, to answer your question, one has to understand actually the administrative structure of Bangladesh. Despite being a parliamentary democracy, it is slightly different from if you do a comparison with India. So that is why this election has significant implication, that it is not only of capturing the central government, it amounts to capturing the whole of Bangladesh. Like in India, you have, the states which are constitutionally recognized bodies.
Right.
But Bangladesh, there are no states. There are basically, kind of divisions and districts and, upzilas. And these are administrative units. They don't have an elected chief minister. They don't have elected legislatures. They are the divisional commissioners and the, administrative heads. They are appointed by the central government, and they are only accountable to the central government. So once you capture the Bangladesh, so you have captured basically, the whole system. So that is why one has to look at it from this perspective also. Second, ever since Yunus regime took over, so in one of your earlier program also had mentioned, so there is an organization called Hizb ut-Tahrir.
Yes.
So Tahrir has played a very significant role in ensuring that all these, whether it is the banking system or the army or the police, so all these are infiltrated by the radical Islamists, and a large number, you have also interviewed on your program and News18 interviewed several such people, that a lot of good people who could oppose it in bureaucracy, they have, or in banking system, or the businessmen, they are now living in exile. So they have already been forced to move from there. So I think, there will not be that much of basically a resistance. It's a complete capture of the power which is going to happen. The only resistance which can come from, it is from basically BNP. And though it seems a far-fetched idea, but probably BNP and Awami League might have to join their hands again, as they had done earlier against, the military regime.
But is that possible? Will the BNP and Awami League ever join hands, Mohammad Ali Siddiqui? Because the allegation is that the BNP was kept out by the Awami League. One of the fallacies or problems in Bangladesh is that there is no robust opposition that can keep the radicals out. And we see the trend, what is happening. The other aspect is the overt involvement of the Pakistanis and the ISI here. And somewhere, are you worried that there is an American sanction to all of this, or the American deep state, CIA sanction to this?
I think the people of Bangladesh are, seriously worried, and some consequences might gonna happen pretty soon, as you mentioned, that the BNP leaders who are dreaming to go to power easily, that I don't know what the consequence might gonna happen soon, right after the result declared by the Election Commission. It seems to me that the authority, the intelligence authority of the military, DGFI, they issued an order which was released to the media, that the Director General of the DGFI announced 75% of the seats should be declared winning for Jamaat-e-Islami. It was issued on 3rd of February 2026. So the another meticulous design was published by the secret documents of Jamaat-e-Islami that 32 DC, 32 district DC out of 64 were distributed, bribed money to them, 1,087 crore and 31 lakhs was delivered through their district leaders to them to declare the manipulated result. So figure it out that 50% of the districts, if manipulated by this sham election result, that definitely Jamaat might gonna show their winning card. So if that situation perceived, definitely BNP shouldn't have any other way to come to Awami League and start protesting or negotiating. Let's forgive and forget these election results, then overthrow the illegitimate occupational force of Muhammad Yunus's government. The other thing is that the radical Islamist groups, they are dreaming to come to power by the Western countries, as they mentioned the other the co-participants. There is a big probability, because that's the way only Muhammad Yunus could stay in power and could hold the highest position as the president of the state, and he could comply with all the necessary demands by the Westerns, those who put him as a puppet of this country. As you mentioned, that all the trade deals, their askings of the regional interest, and something could be fulfilled by Muhammad Yunus only. They could put this puppet government supported by this radical Islamist group as well.
Well, there are a lot of probabilities. In this case, what if the Jamaat is very, very smart, Ambassador Rajiv Dogra? They allow, BNP a farcical win, but they continue to be a far robust opposition, and they by default start dictating what is going to happen in Bangladesh. They are in government in the upper house. They control perhaps somehow somewhere bulk of the Gunner vote, but they sit in opposition and they make the BNP dance. And over the next 5 years, radicalize Bangladesh to an extent that it's goodbye BNP, goodbye Awami League.
Well, exactly, Anand. In fact, it's not just one simple election. There's another rider attached to that election. When people go to vote, they also vote for a referendum.
Yeah.
Let me remind your viewers that earlier there were 3 referendums held in Bangladesh. They were single point referendums, and people voted yes or no. And they related to matters like, term of the president and so on. So some of those referendums were nullified soon thereafter. But this referendum is wide sweeping because it has a number of issues, including institutional reforms, so-called reforms, and affects judiciary, sets up a upper house of the parliament, and many other issues, some of which people may have no knowledge of as to what they are voting for. And then a constituent assembly for these constitutional changes will be set up. Again, it could be entirely staffed by Jamaat-e-Islami with a token BNP presence, or the other way around. That would make no difference because they have already decided that Bangladesh is going to be an authoritarian state, be it Muhammad Yunus or Jamaat-e-Islami that is in power. And what Mr. Siddiqui is referring to, that BNP and Awami League could come together, there's a precedent to that. They had come together, and very forcefully earlier with positive results. They overthrew the dictator of the time, Muhammad Irshad, if I'm not mistaken. Now, whether they'll be able to come together, because it's not just a Bangladeshi dictator, there are 2 other outside forces which are very powerful, which have a lot of money, which is flowing into the elections and Bangladesh generally, America and ISI.
Right.
So, situation is complex, is complicated, and it could have strategic effect not just on India, but the region around it, Myanmar, for example. So let's keep our fingers crossed and let's hope that Bangladeshi people realize that they are in for troubled times.
Because this is also a recipe for a perennial civil war, somewhere fragmentation, balkanization of Bangladesh, and it allows the Americans to seed themselves in further in Bangladesh. They've always coveted and eyed this area, be it the Saint Martin Islands or more hold around in the Sundarban region, islands there, or somehow or the other they want a particular spot there. And Arun Anand, how is it that Bharat has allowed this to pass? Does it escape Bharat's attention that in the long run, if this radicalization of Bangladesh happens, we have double trouble or multiple trouble in our eastern border, far greater than what we see in our western borders?
Anand, the radicalization in Bangladesh actually started within a couple of years, after Bangladesh got independence. And we know basically, then there were subsequent military dictatorships, and during that time, it further got radicalized, and in fact, it became Islamic Republic of Bangladesh officially also. So that radicalization has been there, and that's why. And one more important point, basically, India has a limited role to play in the sense that. Because it's a neighboring country, and so you can't go basically beyond a point. We are not like United States of America, basically that we go to Venezuela, pick up somebody, and bring that person back to us. So we have a different set of values. So we have a limited scope in terms of this thing. My only concern is that. Whether Jamaat comes to power or whether BNP comes to power, the Hindus of Bangladesh and the other minorities of Bangladesh, so they are definitely going to be at the receiving end, especially at the hands of Jamaat. The BNP's record has also not been very good as far as protecting Hindus and other minorities. So I think the Indian government will have to play a proactive role, in that context. We can't leave the Hindus of Bangladesh to defend for themselves. We have to play a proactive role about it.
If one is the Muslim Brotherhood, the other is the Hamas. That's how somebody described the BNP and the Jamaat in terms of their tonality and how they are behaving and what their actions are. Mohammad Ali Siddiqui, how do you see the next 6 to 8 months pass, irrespective of which way the election goes, whether in favor of BNP or the Jamaat?
My feeling, it would be a very dusty and cloudy sky to the Bangladesh due to this, this so-called farcical election by the intimidation of the voters, vandalization, bribery, extortion, rigging, and the staged drama. If peoples could not put their opinion to the table, it should not be a peaceful aftermath of this election. I just want to quote one little thing that one of the Jamaat, George's candidate in the Dhaka city, Dhaka seat number 8, were contesting with one of the big leader of BNP, Mirza Abbas. So his opponent, Nasiruddin Patwari, declared that BNP will be eliminated from Bangladesh soon. Even he got defeated. So publicly, this kind of threat come out from the chief of the Jamaat-e-Islami earlier. He mentioned this similar way: either people vote or no vote, the Jamaat should go to the power, no matter what. So this is undemocratic confession, proven how the Westerns are pushing towards put this brotherhood type.
My question is, the West does not control the state machinery. Who is allowing this to pass? There is somebody who's pulling the strings and who's keeping the tap going to say, let this happen, let this continue to happen, let this nation go into rot and get into the hands of the radicals, because that serves perhaps a greater goal for that particular entity. That's where it is. And there is another entity who's been meddling and who's been interfering, and they have also weaponized and politicized cricket in that. And here comes another farcical statement from them. Gentlemen, your reactions if you would, because it's just coming in. This is on cricket. Happy to take your opinion. Pakistan's fresh statement that's come on cricket. Our decision to play against India came after a realization by international cricket authorities and India that the weaponization and politicization of cricket was wrong and biased. The Pakistan Foreign Affairs Ministry has said the weaponization of cricket is regrettable. The decision of the government not to play against India reflected the resolve of the government of Pakistan not to let cricket be weaponized. Our decision to play this game reflected magnanimity when the relevant authorities realized that the game had been weaponized and politicized. What are they trying to say here, Ambassador Rajiv Dogra? Because even in diplomatic parley, this kind of language is far more convoluted than anything else. Is it a long-winded way of saying I goofed up, I'm sorry?
When General Zia took over as Chief Martial Law Administrator, the joke was, he was so confused, just like this statement you read out. The joke was, CMLA does not stand for Chief Martial Law Administrator. It stands for cancel my last announcement. So what Pakistani Foreign Office is saying, disregard what we did earlier. We boycotted to make cricket weaponized. Now we are not boycotting because we do not want cricket to be weaponized. Now this is absolutely bizarre for a responsible Foreign Office to come out with a statement like this. Pakistan.
It's bizarre for a responsible Foreign Office to make a statement like this, but not the Pak Foreign Office.
Not the. I stand corrected. So I think we will have comedy situations or farcical situations like this for a long time to come. One day they will be crying murder over Indus Waters Treaty. The next day they'll be celebrating that, look, we were magnanimous on cricket, now give us a little more water. So anything is possible with Pakistan, except that when it comes to them, they have not honored even a single international convention or agreement entered into with regard to India. Be it overflights, be it transit of Indian trade to Afghanistan and to Central Asia. All of these are international obligations. Pakistan disregards them.
Yeah.
So to expect gentlemanly treatment on cricket from Pakistan is
no, but why are these rogues being treated like gentlemen, Arun Anand? That's the frustration with the patience and the long rope that the ICC and the BCCI have shown to this lot. Why? That Mohsin Naqvi, उस देश का इंटीरियर मिनिस्टर है, उससे उसका देश नहीं समझ रहा. What he is going to take care of cricket? Why is so much of leeway given to such entities?
See, I think, that's probably, the Indian way of doing things. As I, mentioned earlier in the debate also, that we don't have a sledgehammer approach. You also remember that saying, revenge is served best when it is served cold. So probably in days to come, you'll see that. And I think Pakistan right now, as Ambassador Dogra rightly said, I think it is now swinging between Pakistan is in, and I think beyond a point nobody takes, at least in cricket, because I follow cricket a little bit, so nobody takes Pakistan very seriously in cricket. It's a spent force. Most of the teams don't go to play there. We have seen the way Pakistani team is being treated in Sri Lanka. So nobody gives a damn to basically the Pakistani team. But of course, the thing is that they have also weaponized, they have also entwined everything basically.
They are the ones who have weaponized and politicized cricket. They are the ones who have abused the game. They are the ones who used it for ungentlemanly behavior at all points in time. This lot, don't know why we waste so much of time around them and why so much of money is written on them. I think the moment the money vanishes, Pakistan will be off the cricket board. That's how it is. Hope the advertisers wake up to that. Hope fans and people wake up to that, and hope that they just stop getting any kind of purchase there. Thank you, Ambassador Rajiv Dogra and Arun Anand. Arun Anand, does stay on. We have to cover more ground here on this edition of The Right Stand. Just quickly shifting focus to what's happening in Kerala. There is a very eerie coincidence or perhaps concurrence in the way and similarity in the way things are unfolding in Kerala to what is happening over in Pakistan with some of these radical tanzeems taking to politics. Now, from street power to ballot power, CNN News 18 decodes how radical networks in Kerala are alleged to have recalibrated their strategy, shifting from overt mobilization to deeper political entrenchment ahead of the 2026 elections. Intelligence inputs reviewed by agencies suggest a pattern as comparable to formations such as the Milli Muslim League in Pakistan, that's the front of the Lashkar, where socio-religious mobilization gradually acquires political articulation. Now, in Kerala, investigators claim that following the 2022 ban on the Popular Front of India, the organization's ideological and organizational backbone did not actually disappear, but instead resurfaced through political and social fronts, most prominently the SDPI, or the Social Democratic Party of India. And despite the formal proscription of PFI, intel assessments indicate that many of its cadre are booth-level organizers, and booth-level organizers have allegedly re-emerged within the SDPI structures. By mid-2025, SDPI had reportedly expanded its booth committees in sensitive northern districts such as Malappuram, Kannur, Kasargod areas that agencies have historically flagged for concentrated ideological activity. Former PFI functionaries, according to these assessments, were absorbed into electoral mobilization networks as well as street-level outreach campaigns. Security officials also point to what they describe as adaptive rebranding. Following a 2025 death threat issued to the Tamaraseri Bishop Remigios Ingeniel, agencies have flagged the emergence of fresh aliases such as the Islamic Defence Forces of India, believed to be a shadow formation designed to resist scrutiny while retaining cadre loyalty. Parallel social religious organizations including Rehab India Foundation and National Women's Front continue welfare and outreach initiatives. Intel sources claim that NGOs and affiliated fronts help maintain ideological cohesion and grassroots presence while avoiding direct legal exposure. Now, investigations over the past decade have consistently placed North Kerala under the scanner. Earlier probes, including Operation Pigeon and more recent NIA inputs between 2024-25, have reportedly identified the region as having one of the highest concentration of Islamic State sympathizers in the country. In 2025, a case in Thiruvananthapuram saw a mother and stepfather booked under Unlawful Activities Prevention Act for allegedly attempting to radicalize a minor, a development that reignited concerns of homegrown radicalization networks. Financial flows remain another area of scrutiny. Intel sources indicate that between 2023 and 2025, there was a continued inflow of funds to certain Salafist madrasas, allegedly routed through Gulf-based donors and informal transfer channels. Kerala Police's internal assessments have also referred to ideological spillover from conflict theatres such as Afghanistan and Syria, suggesting that global narratives continue to influence segments of local networks. And adding to these concerns, police reports have noted possible indirect ideological influence from groups such as the Ansarullah Bangla team, allegedly filtering through migrant labour circuits into parts of Kerala. The period between 2024 and 2026, according to security documentation, has seen repeated hate speech cases, instances of vandalism targeting syncretic shrines, and public displays during rallies where extremist leaders from overseas conflicts were openly glorified. Intel agencies further warn that even as overt violence has declined in the recent years, there are signs of long-term consolidation, a strategic pivot from confrontation to calibrated political participation. Another emerging concern flagged in assessments is the increasing electoral dependence of certain mainstream political actors on SDPI and Jamaat-aligned vote banks in closely contested constituencies. Officials caution that such tactical alignments, even if limited or indirect, could contribute to the normalization of hardline ideological platforms within democratic processes. Question remains, has Kerala gone from a recruitment zone to a radicalization hub? And is this now far more difficult for investigative agencies to try and arrest, comprehend and execute arrests? Because this is white collar radicalization and sociologically penetrating the entire system itself and corrupted from within. Arun Anand, columnist, with us. YC Modi, former DG NIA, is also with us. My namaste and Jai Hind to both of you gentlemen. Thank you very much. YC Modi ji, this is a pattern which we are seeing, and it seems that these radical outfits exchange knowledge or share toolkits on how to do this across borders.
Anand, whenever any organization is banned, this type of in different organizations, different welfare organizations, in the name of welfare organizations, it was expected. The only important thing was whether investigating agencies or intelligence agencies of Kerala were taking action against these people, because we know very well that whenever any organization is banned, their members stop working overtly, but they start working covertly in the names of other organizations. They float different organizations in different names. So in this case also it was expected, and I personally feel that investigating agencies in Kerala should have remained alert about this possibility and should take action against these newly floated bodies and their members as per law. And there are legal provisions under which action can be taken. So I am quite sure that the actions must have been taken, but we in the intelligence parlance we call hub and spoke relationship.
Yeah.
PFI is the hub, and other organizations, eight organizations known as frontal organizations of PFI were banned along with the PFI. But there is no bar for raising new organizations or new bodies. So this is a real threat, and all investigating agencies, intelligence agencies and police will have to remain alert to this possibility. As far as coming elections are concerned, SDPI is already known as the frontal organization of...
yeah, but why was it allowed to continue to operate, and these underlying ages, new fronts will appear, and this is, we are seeing from IM to SIMI to PFI, Arun Anand, and they are also modifying and evolving their methods to make it more difficult to get at them.
No. See, it all started with Anand, actually.
No, I understand.
Arun Anand, Vice Modi ji, Arun Anand, yes, please. Yeah.
So, Anand, it all started with, when the petrodollar started coming in from Gulf. Basic challenge in Kerala right now is, and as Mr. Modi was also pointing out, that state units have to be, the state, police and the CID and all the law and order machinery, it has to be more proactive about that. The problem is that, as we all know, that the state law and order machinery, typically they report to the political bosses. So ever since, Kerala has come into existence as a state, so either it has been either a left Democratic Front government or a United Democratic Front government. In both the blocks, basically, the Radical Islam play a very significant role. So I think the hands of police are tied up, one. Second is that, we are seeing Kerala being turned into a testing lab for Radical Islam, because you have presence of ISIS, KP there, you Al-Qaeda working there. You also have, number of other organizations working there. So it is being turned into a lab, and the online radicalization is a massive thing which is going on in Kerala. Kerala has a very high, this thing of literacy also, and we see a more hardened version of Islam, Salafi Islam, basically, which has been imported from the Gulf. Now it's being visible. It's now visible on the roads of Kerala, with the hijabs. And
but why is this being allowed is where I'm going to wait, because oftentimes we see this, an illegal building stands and it's allowed to be built before it's razed down. Why allow it to even get root or foundations? That's the bigger question. We've run out of time. We'll take this forward for sure. We got a very, very special guest in our studio. We're breaking format because we have a very, very special guest with us in the studio, and we've just decided, pulled him in, and he said came for a visit. He doesn't usually come, but he was there in our studios, and we said, okay, let's have a quick conversation with him on the Cooperative Trust. He's the MD of the Gujarat Cooperative Milk Marketing Federation, or as we know it as AMUL, and also the Sahkar Bharat Taxi. Jain Mehta ji, namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you. Thank you for agreeing to do this. My first question to you is that this intent to and committed on dairy, on the trade deal, does that come as a relief, or was that never a worry?
It was a reason to worry. But we knew very clearly, the Honorable Prime Minister is very clear, there is not going to do anything to hurt the interests of the farmers of the country, the milk producers of the country. And so much so he announced it from the Red Fort on the 15th August last year. So you see all the trade deals. The India-US is the recent one. Prior to that we had India-European Union. Prior to that we had India-New Zealand. Australia has been also talking. Dairy Chapter 4 has been excluded out of it. The US deal was very critical. Agriculture also has been largely kept out of it. So it's a good thing, because protecting this sector is not just for the business part of it. It's also for the livelihood. There are about 8 crore, 10 crore families dependent on milk for their livelihood. And that's where most of them are landless, marginal farmers. So that's where you need to protect. And of course, India is the largest producer of milk in the world. So if we want to become a dairy to the world in the next 10 years, when we produce 1/3 of the total milk, then you need the strong producer base to take care of the opportunities that arise. And the tariff reduction, the 50% reduced to 18% also brings in new opportunities for us.
I know Amul is spreading its wings nationally and also internationally. So there are experts who believe that dairy is quite robust as a sector. It's all right if certain parts of it are open. Do you agree with such thoughts or no?
In a way, it's not a right way to look at it, because dairy is fully integrated. It's not one part and other part, because if you are only handling, say, butter or ghee, the fat component of it, what do you do with the solid not fat or the protein component? If you think fat is important and you can bring in protein, that's also counterproductive, because when you use milk to make cheese, the whey comes out and from the whey protein comes out. So you can't take away a small component of it and try to say that it's different from the rest of the stuff. So milk itself is a superfood, and the sum of parts also makes it very, very interesting for the value addition component of it. Because end of the day, we have to pay a good price to the farmer. And that's what will keep him or her interested in dairy. It's a 24/7 business. And a lot of hard work is there, because it's livestock, lot to do with genetics, lot to do with weather, and of course you're dealing with the cattle. So that's why it's very, very critical for us. And if India is also self-sufficient in this very vital food item, so we need to protect it in a sense that we need to have an eye for the future. And that is the vision Honorable Prime Minister had, and that's what is been translated into all our trade deals.
So you are somewhere confident that the Prime Minister will never compromise, till the time he's at the helm of affairs, never compromise the interests of Bharat's Kisan, dairy and otherwise?
True. I mean, anybody who has the interests of the country at heart will be definitely championing the cause for the smallholders and the small farmers, and particularly the women producers of the country.
Quickly, when we talk about the cooperative thrust, we have to talk about Bharat Taxi. But before I come to that, so another cooperative movement, you're using AI now?
Yes, that's right. We launched Amul Artificial Intelligence, a tool to support all the 3.6 million farmers that we have. Any farmer having any query can just call up one number, 080 3545 3545, and in local language, Sarla Ben, who is our AI Sahayak, will guide that lady of what she needs or any specific query she has, because she has database of every single cow in the state. So every farmer, his or her cattle ownership, what was the treatment given to her in terms of veterinary doctor servicing that, what are the artificial insemination done, what was the bull whose breed is being done to improve the productivity of our cattle, everything, and the quantity and quality of milk is available in a common database, accessible for every single farmer of the country.
So it's technology for good, and also you made it easily accessible. The same thing in this cooperative thrust you're doing for Sahkar Taxi or Bharat Taxi. Explain the concept and why is it so path-breaking? Because we saw the Cooperatives Minister Amit Shah ji announce it and say that this is going to redefine app-based taxi services.
So yeah, that's very a new initiative that we have taken. But the cooperative thrust in the country, actually in a central level, started with the formation of the new Ministry of Cooperation about 4.5 years back. And it's been chaired by Shri Amit Shah ji, who's also Union Minister of Home, but a veteran of cooperatives because of his experience in Gujarat prior to becoming this, coming to this level. So the new initiatives the Ministry of Cooperation has taken is the Bharat Taxi is the latest one of that, but prior to that also we set up several multi-state cooperatives, one on exports. How do we promote the products manufactured by cooperatives globally? one on organics, the multi-state cooperative organics, where how do we promote the farmers to produce food without chemical fertilizers and pesticides, and tell the consumers also that you need to be consuming this kind of a thing. Third is a cooperative on seeds, the Bharat Beej Sahkari Limited. Then this new one is the Bharat Taxi, in which today mobility is driven by the algorithms and the tools of multinationals. The driver does not get the full share of what the consumer is paying, and at times he is exploited, and there is data to prove that, not just in India, globally. So this model of a cooperative taxi service came in which the drivers are the owners of this enterprise. And not just owners, they also represent the drivers community on the board and take decisions which are in best interests of both the drivers as well as the consumers. So I'm happy to say this new multi-state cooperative which has been just launched. Today we have about 300,000 drivers on board in just 2 cities, Gujarat, Ahmedabad and Delhi. We have about 15 lakh plus customers already registered on our app. And we started getting very good the traction, more importantly transactions, and the happiness of the drivers is actually seen to be believed.
You know, there is this apprehension that if it is cooperatized, it is not corporatized anymore. So the whole idea is that the cab drivers should not become a gang and they should not exploit the consumer. Quality of the cab service, safety, cleanliness in the car and all of that may get compromised because the cab drivers may just run their own,
The two ways of looking at it. Yeah, you're right, but the two ways of looking at it. And I'm quoting the Amul experience for this particular thing. So in Amul, any farmer who gives us milk is not a supplier of milk. He or she is the owner of the brand. And this brand today is $11 billion. Okay, and ranked as the strongest food brand in the world, strongest dairy brand in the world. So the ownership of the brand is very important of the association. So nobody will compromise on the quality of milk, and they will ensure that everybody sees, they would see that everybody meets the highest standard, because anything going wrong with the brand would hurt their livelihood. Same here, if the drivers know that they are not just providing a service from taking a person from point A to point B, he is also the owner of that particular entire brand. Okay, and so he will also see that he maintains the highest standards as far as the quality of the vehicle is concerned, his attitude to the passengers is concerned, his drive, the navigation and everything is concerned. And more importantly, he will also keep an eye on what the other drivers are doing. So these are the checks and balances which are there in the cooperative system. People outside don't realize this. But once a driver knows he's a part of this 300,000 driver family, today it will become 50 lakh drivers in the next 1.5 years when we roll out in different parts of country. It's a very strong community feeling, but more importantly the business orientation feeling, and each one of them working hard extra to retain that customer who's taking that ride and see that that customer stays with them for their entire life.
2 cities, 3 lakh drivers, 15 lakh consumers already. So it's moving into the GCMMF model or the Amul model already, Bharat Taxi. We promised him that we will not take more than 10 minutes of his in this chat, which he was not really prepared for, but always a pleasure to meet you and also to speak with you. Wish you and your entire cooperative trust all the very, very best. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Pleasure talking to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
एक और चीज है कि पाकिस्तान उसी वेन्यू पे, उसी स्टेडियम पे खेल रहा है. भारत को यहां से वहां जाना पड़ेगा. तो आपको कहीं लगता है कि उनको एडवांटेज ज्यादा शायद होम कंडीशन जैसा हो जाए?
देखिए, आप कितना भी ट्राई करें थोड़ा सा बिल्डअप करने के लिए कि ये कॉन्टेस्ट थोड़ा सा क्लोज हो सकता है, मेरे से ऐसा कोई आपको मिलेगा नहीं कि इसके वजह से ये मैच क्लोज हो सकता है. नहीं, बहुत अंतर है इंडिया और पाकिस्तान में, इसलिए वो मैच मुझे कभी इंटरेस्ट नहीं करता. इंडिया साउथ अफ्रीका, इंडिया ऑस्ट्रेलिया, ये मैचेस मैं देखूंगा, लेकिन लोग देखते हैं और उसकी वजह भी वही है. ये मेरा मानना है, लेकिन शायद इनकी
क्वालिटी ऑफ क्रिकेट जो है वो इंडिया ऑस्ट्रेलिया, इंडिया साउथ अफ्रीका में फार बेटर देन
इंडिया ऑस्ट्रेलिया, इंडिया साउथ अफ्रीका, इंडिया अफगानिस्तान टर्निंग पे.
एक खिलाड़ी है पाकिस्तान का जो वो मिस्ट्री स्पिनर,
उस्मान तारिक. ये यहाँ देखिए, मेरे पास बैट है और बॉल है, ये बॉल पकड़े, ये आप बॉल पकड़े.
तकलीफ
और सर आप मुझे ये बताएं कि वो जो कर रहे हैं वो सही है कि गलत है?
ये वो लोग, उसकी वेरिएशन ऐसी है ना
अच्छा ये बॉल और आ गई है, लाइए 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 लाइए, फेंकिए फेंकिए,
इधर हाँ
ये
white
तो
box
बॉल आ
लगाओ
गई है,
फिर।
लाइए ये लीजिए।
अरे 4
हाँ white
जिससे
board
आपके
हो
लिए
गया।
आपके लिए
So
और
जो
न्यू बॉल्स हो जाएंगी
उसका जो
बनने
ऑफ
में।
स्पिनर है ना ऐसे होता है,
ऐसे
अरे एक एक
एंड लेग स्पिनर ऐसे होएगा, जो गूगल है अनिल कुंबले का जैसे थर्ड उंगली से जाता है ना, एंड फिर उसकी आर्म बॉल है। बस एक बात है, जब पोज करते हैं ये बाँ 50 डिग्रीज की हो जाती है, ये हम डिबेट करेंगे अभी।
हाँ नहीं, बाँ एक है, बाँ एक है, और दूसरी बात ये है कि वो जो खड़े होते हैं और खड़े होकर रुक जाते हैं, जो ये स्टॉप अलाउड है कि नहीं है?
नहीं, ये करना चाहिए बिकॉज जब बैट्समैन है, बैट्समैन स्विच हिटिंग करते हैं, वी अलाउ बैट्समैन कर सकते हैं, बैट्समैन थोड़ी रोक के कहो ओ अभी मैं रिवर्स स्विप करना चाहता हूँ, वेट करो फिर मैं मारना चाहता हूँ, ऐसे यू नो आई थिंक बॉलर को भी एडवांटेज होना चाहिए।
एक हाँ ये श्री एक मलिंगा थे ना जो ऐसे स्लिंग,
अश्विन यूज्ड टू डू दैट नो, पहले वो बहुत सारे एक्शन में डालते थे, इन्होंने भी वही बोला कि बहुत सारे एक्शन में डालते थे, बट इतना है कि द कंसंट्रेशन फोकस ये बोलते हैं 4 to 5 सेकंड्स जो भी है, सो वंस यू ब्लिंक एंड यू लुक एट द बॉलर इट टेक्स दैट 3 to 4 सेकंड ना, उसके बाद थोड़ा ब्लर हो जाता है, तो शायद मे बी दैट इज व्हाट ही इज डूइंग, आई नेवर नो, मे बी, बट उतना पाकिस्तान नहीं सोच सकता साइंस। तो
ये ब्लर वेयर में मैं पहली बार सुन रहा हूं, ये ब्लर
मगर
बहुत ही
मगर अगर कोई भी देखेंगे,
कभी ब्लर हुआ क्या?
इफ यू ब्लिंक इट टेक्स लाइक दैट।
जरा आपको मैं थोड़ी तकलीफ दूंगा, जरा इस तरफ आए इस पिच पर जो हमने किया है, और आप मुझे बताइए, आइए आप दोनों आए, संजय भाई आप तो बैट्समैन हैं, तो मैं आपसे ये पूछ रहा हूँ, और श्री कम, तो आप जिस तरह से भी आप बैटिंग छोड़िए,
मैं वो ब्लर का एक्सप्लोर कर दूं, ये मैंने
मैं आपसे,
अगर वो डिले करेंगे एक्शन तो ब्लर हो जाता है,
देखिए
ब्लर हो
पिच
जाते हो,
तो ऐसे करेंगे आप ब्लिंक करके यू सी द स्पोर्ट एंड देन यू लुक एट द बॉलर, राइट? तो आई एम रनिंग एंड
टेल मी व्हेन टू ब्लिंक,
so whenever you usually blink, so I'm doing
ब्लिंक यस ब्लर हो गया
ऐसा ब्लर तो वो
मैच में क्या हुआ, बैट्समैन देखिए, बैट्समैन कई बार T20 में कमिट कर देता है ना, प्री कमिट कर देता है, पिछले मैच में क्या हुआ, वो बल्लेबाज यहाँ आ गया, कमिट कर गया, और उस्मान रुक गया और उसने सीधा फेंकी, बोल्ड कर दिया। अब आप ये बताइए ये रूल्ड है, रूल में है कि नहीं?
जैसे मॉन्टी ने कहा इट हैज टू बी एज फार एज पॉसिबल, थोड़ा इक्वल होना चाहिए, अगर बल्लेबाज खुद भी कर सकता है तो फिर व्हाई नॉट, यू कैन स्टेप आउट।
हाँ
बॉलर कांट गो इवन इतना भी आगे, उसका नो बॉल होता है, तो मेरे हिसाब से बॉलिंग एक्शन में कोई दिक्कत नहीं, पॉज ले लो, कुछ भी करो, और कोई लोग कह रहे कि चक भी करता है, मैंने जो देखा है
फेंक रहा है बॉल,
he's got a straight arm action, ओनली बहुत ही साइड
इसलिए वो फुल स्लीप पहनते हैं।
फिर से
देखिए ये देखिए ये उसका थ्रो है, अब ये आर्म सीधा है कि नहीं है, ये एक बार वो वापस देखा, ये देखिए ये इसका रिलीज है सर, ये अब ये आर्म सीधा है कि नहीं है?
अभी आई टेल यू, अभी कौन है
वहां सीधी है
जी,
हाँ, तो चकिंग का क्या है मॉन्टी, आप आके बताएंगे जरा बेहतर, आई क्विकली सेट द स्पेसिफिक एंगल भी। चकिंग का आपको कौन सा कैमरा है मेरे ऊपर?
ये देखिए, ये कैमरा, वो कैमरा, दोनों कैमरास हैं सर।
तो ये जब आप पकड़ते हो ना, दैट डजंट मीन चकिंग।
हाँ
ये
हाँ,
इफ यू एक्सटेंड इट
हाँ
देन इट्स चकिंग।
तो अगर मैं बाह घुमा के ये छोड़ रहा हूं, यहाँ से झटका दूं
तो इट्स नॉट चकिंग। सो शोल्डर हाइट के ऊपर अगर बेंड है,
हाँ ये दिखाइए,
तो अगर ये शोल्डर हाइट के ऊपर अगर ये बेंड है, अभी ये मेरा कोई किसी ने स्टिल पिक्चर लिया, यू कांट से आई एम चकिंग। इफ आई बोल इट लाइक दिस ओनली इट्स नॉट चकिंग, बट इफ आई बोल लाइक दिस,
यहाँ से झटका दूं,
झटका दिया तो ये हो गया चक्की।
18 डिग्री कुछ तो शायद इंटरनेशनल रूल है,
तो अब वो झटका दे रहा है कि नहीं दे रहा है?
15 to 18 डिग्री।
उमेश भाई को
मेरे गट्स देखो, बॉलर